We're standing here today in front of one of the busiest fire stations in Orange County, Fire Station 57.
We get a lot of questions lately about Assembly Bill 38, which passed in 2019, which established fire hardening regulations for homeowners in California. And today we're here to talk to two members of the Orange County Fire Authority who are going to shed some light on this very important subject.
So Chief Contreras, thank you so much for taking the time on very busy schedule, I'm sure, to be here with us today talking about the AB 38. So thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. You know, one of the things that we do in public safety is look at for many different ways that we can help the public. And talking about AB 38 is very important to people's safety, their livelihood, and just their overall quality of life.
Tell us a little bit about some of the background of fire in California that led to the passing of this very important legislation.
Yeah, so if you look over the last 40 years, what we've seen is our fire activity, not only the intensity of the fires, but how big they get, right? Over 2 years ago, we had over 4 million acres within the state of California burned in 1 year. That's unprecedented. As we've seen these fires increase, not only in the number of fires, but the intensity, and unfortunately the amount of damage they've done and the cost of life. One of the things that AB 38 is trying to do is, well, trying to protect the citizens, also trying to reduce the spread and the severity of those fires through protecting different areas and reducing the amount of vegetation that can burn and connect or be feeder fuel, if you will, to the residents. A lot of times as embers, they are the first part of a fire that starts to cause the damage. So you might have the actual front of the fire maybe a mile away, but then embers of that fire start to spread downwind, and they start to hit a slope, other vegetation that is dry, and starts to spread the fire. As the main body of the fire comes, it starts to dry out the vegetation and adds to that spread. So when you add those two along with the embers that can get to roofs, they can get to eaves, and to even furniture, it increases not only the spread, but the intensity of the fire.
So now that we heard about the AB 38 from Chief Contreras, right? And now I want to ask you a very important question, because we get asked this question all the time. What this means to our local residents here in Laguna, Niguel in South County.
So AB 38 actually speaks to those sellers of properties located in a very high fire hazard severity zone needing to provide documentation to the buyer that their property is compliant with the defensible space requirements of the state.
So talk to us specifically about what the defensible space requirements are.
So what that speaks to is those properties that are located in a very high fire hazard severity zone have to perform defensible space within 100 feet of their property or to the property line. In some cases, this means that only performing that work within their lot, and in some cases it also means the HOA performing work on their common area slopes.
Right, so typically here in Orange County, most of the properties are regulated by an HOA. And so a lot of the questions we get is where does a homeowner, where does their liability end and where does the HOA liability begin?
So it's really dependent on each community. So there are specific requirements to meet defensible space. These are the requirements set forth by the state. And so what we do is we work with these HOAs and provide different options as far as how they can gain compliance with these slopes. For additional information, a resident can go on our website, which is ocfa.org/RSG, to request a home assessment, where an inspector will come out free of charge to provide that homeowner with information as far as how they can better harden their home, and then also the vegetation maintenance in and around their home.
Excellent. Yeah, and you can see why it's important that people really take the time to take care of their most important investment, which is their home.
Absolutely.
My only disappointment from today is that they didn't let me slide down that fire pole. But maybe next time.
Next time.